Hello everyone, my name is Ashutosh and in today's video I am going to be reviewing the second episode of House of Dragon, which is named as the Rogue Prince, who is nothing but King Viserys' brother, Prince Daemon Targaryen. But weirdly enough, we don't get much of him in this episode, and whatever we do get makes up for the title pretty nicely. Unlike the pilot episode, this episode starts off with the same intro that Game of Thrones had, but the artwork here is different, as we all know that this show primarily focuses on House Targaryen. We see blood flowing down different parts of this particular setting that also tries to portray the events that shaped the Targaryen history. Regarding the intro music, I think it was a really good choice that they continued with the same music, as I don't think any new music can ever top that. This episode starts off 6 months after the events of the previous episode, and the transition isn't pretty evident. Still, I didn't find it bothersome, as the people who have read the source material may very well know that it is like a history textbook rather than a linear story. And to give a shape to that in an easy and engaging way is what makes this show really well executed, at least so far. As we got to know how this era started off with King Viserys being crowned the King of the Iron Throne, and what ensued further is a somewhat peaceful reign with intermittent disturbances caused by King's brother Prince Daemon. By the end of the first episode, we saw how Princess Rhaenyra was named heir to the Iron Throne, which also created a sense of conflict between her and Prince Daemon, who claims himself to be the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. The first episode ended with some conflicts that were established for the audience to understand what we will be expecting from this season. Gruesome bodies being eaten by crabs and gory and unsettling wounds laying on a shore is how this episode starts, giving us the idea that while the realm is struggling with what's to come, there are other matters as well that need attention. Then we transition to a cup being filled by Rhaenyra and hinted that this is basically a chance as a cupbearer to listen to the discussion happening among the council members. We got hinted towards this in the first episode, where we understood Rhaenyra's ambitions and differences as she aims for battle and glory, then to bed some king or knight. This particular discussion scene forms the context for introductory scene where we saw the crabs feeding upon the dead bodies, and funnily enough, the people who have sieged these seas are known as crab feeders, as we get to know when Corlys Velaryon voices his concern to the king. In this scene, we understand that even after naming Rhaenyra the heir to the Iron Throne, the king still needs some time to accept everything that's going around him. This can be concluded by the scene when Rhaenyra is advised by the king to look after the replacement of the Knight's Guard, and instead of advising the council on the matters that concern the realm. This just adds to the perception of why she has been named the heir. Even though she mourns the death of her brother Baelon, she knows that things would go different if it weren't for his death, that her selection is burdened by the lack of choice. We then see a glimpse of her boldness when she chooses Sir Criston Cole as the Knight's Guard by arguing with Sir Otto. This scene, as well as the one that occurs later in the episode at Dragonstone, clearly sets up a sense of bitterness between Rhaenyra and Sir Otto, the Hand of the King. Just like the previous episode, where it was somewhat established that there is some sense of intimacy between the king and Alicent Hightower, the daughter of the Hand, this episode kind of expands upon that when Alicent visits his chambers while he's toying with the dragon miniature. At first, when I saw this scene where the miniature slips from his hands and breaks, I was a bit confused as to why this detail was necessary. But later we understand that it was a tool used by the creators to amplify the intimacy between these two characters, when Alicent gifts him a mended miniature. While Corlys with his wife are significantly vocal about King's remarriage to their daughter Laena in the means to create an alliance between two purely Valyrian families, King's Hand Sir Otto has been surely much longer in this game, as he has been using Alicent very subtly. Furthermore, we see a bit more development between Rhaenyra and Alicent's friendship, which seemingly enough will be the last of it. There are 3 scenes in this particular episode that elaborate on the conflicts that were introduced in the previous episode. The first scene is where Princess Rhaenys, the queen who never was, and Princess Rhaenyra have a serious tussle as Rhaenys tries to shove a reality check on her, while she makes sure to lay a foundation of what she will be facing in the years to come, as his father King Viserys will remarry and give birth to several children, among them a son who would be rightful heir, potentially contesting Rhaenyra's claim to the Iron Throne. As she boldly states, "Here is the hard truth, which no one else has the heart to tell you. Men would sooner put the realm to the torch than see a woman ascend the Iron Throne." The second scene is where King's brother Daemon, after stealing a dragon egg that was to be given to Balon had taken a hold of Dragonstone with his whore, who he calls as Lady Miseria. And as the personal hatred between the Hand and Daemon has already been established in the first episode, Sir Otto volunteers to travel to Dragonstone and reclaim the stolen dragon egg. I love the immersive feel attributed to Dragonstone, as it feels a bit haunting and welcoming simultaneously. We see a potential start to bloodshed in this scene, which is then a bit calmed by Daemon's dragon Caraxes. But what was more chilling was the arrival of Princess Rhaenyra mounted on her dragon Syrax. This was a really amazing and well-crafted scene, and it also expands on Rhaenyra's try at proving that she can be more than just a named heir and a cupbearer, that she has the capability to stabilize the situation without any bloodshed. And the third scene, that just like the previous episode's ending, opened a box full of dangerous possibilities when, instead of choosing Princess Lena and creating an alliance between the House Velaryon and House Targaryen, the king chooses Princess Alicent Hightower. While the outrage was expected from Corlys Velaryon, this announcement also shocks Rhaenyra as she hastily leaves the courtroom, leaving all the council members stunned. Even as an audience, it was pretty clear for us to figure this out. It was still presented in a way that it would feel unpredictable when the king is advised to marry Lena. But what this decision will do to Alicent and Rhaenyra's friendship is something that will be one of the major plot points of this season. Lastly, the episode ends with the much expected proposal of alliance by Corlys to Daemon, as they both would be potentially becoming an upcoming threat to the Iron Throne. Overall, this was yet another superb episode with no violence except a sense of dread during the Dragonstone scene. Compared to the first episode, I love the dragons more in this one, as we see Caraxes more clearly. One more thing we can notice is the stark difference between the voice of both dragons, with a pretty evident color difference as well. Most importantly, I love the dialogues throughout the both episodes, but mostly in this episode, as I think it can be a daunting task to write such impactful dialogues while also adapting from a book that only had 2 to 3 pages worth of dialogues throughout the book. My rating for this episode would again be 9 out of 10, as I cannot nitpick anything unnecessarily because whatever they did was really appreciable. So that's all from my side. I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, please do like and share this video. Do check out my other reviews as well. Subscribe to the channel for more such content. Have a great day and keep binging.